world, and Magic Kingdom is Ariel. On my break one day, I decided to go relax and watch Ice Age 3 in 4D. The theater was freezing. This, I thought, was to give people the full effect of a 4D movie. However, one of the pipes broke loose in the ceiling, and I was cryogenically frozen in the carbonite that leaked from it. It took 10 years before anyone could figure out how to get me out. I was unfrozen largely due to the efforts of super scientist, chemical engineer, and former classmate T.V. Jones. When I awoke, Caitlin Pate here was peering over me with a worried look on her face.
I hurried back from the moon as quickly as I could when I heard you were going to be released. I had been in space for 6 months with Rock Wally on NASA's first new mission since they shut down their space program.
I woke up with a new outlook and decided that I should try to get in touch with everyone that I graduated with, since I had, in fact, missed out on quite a lot. Caitlin helped me up, and I noticed that reporter Ricky Jill Russell was the first on the scene, reporting live for CNN. I thought to myself, what has the world come to?
Nurses Shayla Kaiser and Marcus Latier helped Kel regain her strength, and then we set out on our journey to reunite the class of 2012. We decided to take a road trip and start with the people closest to us. The last thing I heard, Russell Mitchell and Jonathan Herndon were running an extremely successful nightclub in the IE. We drove by, the lot was empty, and there was a sign up that said Alan Whitlow Carpentry would be constructing Tyler Burton's 1,000 two-dish restaurant.
Typical. We decided to stop and relax on the beach. After all, I had been frozen for 10 years. We were laying on the beach planning our trip when lifeguards Dallas Davis and Brady Harris showed up to escort us off. They explained that it was privately owned by A.J. Justice and Robert Stafford, but they heard that Courtney Pringle was working nearby at the Dolphin Island Marine Biology Lab.
We loved Courtney's hairstyle and asked her where she got it done. Let's face it, Kel, you haven't had a haircut in 10 years. Courtney gave us directions to this hot new place in Atlanta. We got there only to find out that it was owned by world-renowned cosmetologists Haley Whitehead and Christina Thorpe. Haley had even got a book deal with the help of financial guru Nathan Lawson. We overheard Nathan discussing last week's NASCAR race when he mentioned Jared West, and we decided that Talladega was our next destination.
As soon as we arrived, there were 2 laps remaining in the race, and famous race car driver Jared West was in dead last. On the last lap, there was a massive wreck involving everyone but Jared. The cars piled up, and Jared was blocked from the finish line, so he jumped out of his car and ran for the win. As soon as he did, the race official Culver Hitchcock escorted him off the track and told him he was disqualified. All we could hear was Jared screaming, "I know my rights!" Trying to calm him down.
All of a sudden, a brawl broke out involving many fans, including Shelley Lawley and Heather Capps. The paramedics arrived to take them to the hospital, and we saw Heather Davis in the back of the ambulance and decided to follow them in the hopes of finding more of our classmates.
When we got to the hospital, nurses Lauren Hicks and Katie Stacks took our injured friends back to see the doctor. We waited and waited, and suddenly we heard blood-curdling screams coming from the next room. The door flew open, and out walked OBGYN Katrina Gonzalez and pediatric nurse Tori Hensley carrying a newborn. We heard Tori murmur that this is Kara's 10th child. Yes, Kara Jeffroy.
As we headed to the elevator, we saw Caitlin Pearson in a room, so we went in to see how she was doing. She had lost a leg in overseas combat, and her Purple Heart was sitting by the window. She told us about Austin Clark achieving his goal of becoming a staff sergeant in the Army, and that Gage Doherty was in an unknown location with the Air Force.
As she was finishing the story, physical therapist Jessie Capps and Rachel Lawson walked in to start therapy, so we decided that it was time to go. We figured it would be best to head home to home sweet home, Walker County. On the way, we stopped at a gas station. We were flipping through magazines when Forbes magazine caught my eye. On the cover was our former classmate and now millionaire Nathan Humphreys. I decided to buy it. I had to find out how he did it.
While looking through it, we stumbled upon many more of our classmates. Derek Simon had become a millionaire for eyelash modeling. Dalton Nome was also featured as a personal chef of millionaire Arthur Dixon. I also read that Josh Spears had become Wiz Khalifa's bass player, and Chris Beasley overcame his color blindness and became owner of Creative.
I knew we had finally reached Walker County when 2 men ran across the road in front of us chasing 2 goats. They looked up at us, and we realized realized that it was none other than Levi Moon and Matt Culver. After a long conversation, we found out that Levi owned the largest fainting goat farm in the southeast, with a chain of stores for goats, necessities, and accessories. Veterinarian Nick Hutton also worked at the farm and cared for all animals.
Levi proceeded to tell us that Michael Wilson became an electrician and Alan Barker was a forest ranger. Aaron Hester and Dustin Tyler worked in the mines, and Michael Coleman worked for Alabama Power. We then left and headed towards our beloved old high school. On the way, we passed B&M Trucking, where Mason Markham and Matthew Allen were mechanics.
When we got to the school, we saw Austin West and Jennifer Smith standing outside the gym. They told us that Austin was the boys' basketball coach, and he led them to their very first championship win. Jennifer was the girls' basketball coach. Austin told us about how Ryan Love became a sports analyst, and Alex Perrin was a football trainer at the University of Alabama. Well done.
We then decided to take a look around for old time's sake. While passing by the Access Lab, we saw a computer programmer, Erica Nix, trying to fix the system. The internet was down, again. She informed us that Caitlin Nugent worked at the elementary school and recently opened up a soup kitchen, and Jessamine Jones worked at a daycare.
We both longed to stop by our homes before heading to our next destination. I walked in my house to see my mom sitting at the table eating Wheaties and reading the newspaper, but what caught my eye was the face on the box. It was famous beach volleyball player Stephanie Cash. "Look at this," Mom said. "President Tyler Campbell is actually wanting to change the laws he just passed. He decided not to introduce the Hunger Games as a form of punishment after all." This was too much for me to handle after being frozen for 10 years.
I made myself at home and turned on the TV and saw Matt Richards on the show Moonshiners. Flipping through the channels, I saw underwear model Theo Burley and Broadway sensation Reagan Sailors. She made a gig as part of Timon in the lobby. We decided we needed to get back on track, so we headed up north to where people hurt Ethan Pounds met. Before getting out of Jasper, we passed by Jesse Pay's dental care. We got out to find dental hygienist Ashley Williams standing in the lobby crying.
We asked her what was wrong, and she said that they had taken Dee Seacrest to the insane asylum and that no one could find Scott Roden. After calming down, Ashley explained that Jessie had opened up the dentistry business with the money she received from winning American Idol. She told us about Amanda Crumpton and Jessica Guyton. Amanda found a cure for cancer, and Jessica was a world-renowned neurologist. They currently have neighboring beach houses in Hawaii. She mentioned that Dustin Ohio Terry was next in line to take Hugh Hefner's place. And last we heard, Ethan Pounds was protecting the streets of Manhattan as the hooded Pounds. The end.